Hey guys, so for this video I wanted to discuss Elo Hell. For starters, what is Elo Hell? Elo Hell is the concept that you are being held back by all other players, pretty much. That you are more deserving of a higher division, like bronze and silver, and that you're being held back by other players in your division. Typically, the story goes something like, in all my games, my KDA is really well. I always win my lanes, but then I have feeders in another lane, and then the spillover comes over into my lane, and whatever, can't for some reason you cannot win the game, or it just feels like your team has put you in a position where you're just not going to be able to come back from. And though it is true that yeah, your teammates could be really crappy around that division in the bronze, silver, elo area, it still doesn't take from the point that if you were a much better player, you would know how to rally up the team, where to make the calls, and just mechanically outplay everybody, and being able to win these games more often than not. Which brings me to my next point, that Elo Hell does not exist. If it existed, then how would people be able to carry you out of said Elo Hell? It just doesn't make sense, because it is possible. You're able to get pulled out of these divisions if you are a better player. I think it's important to grasp that concept, mainly because you stop making excuses for yourself. Like, if you just keep thinking it's everybody else's fault, and like you're perfectly fine, you're doing what you need to do, it's those other people that are like stopping you from getting better. If you keep thinking that way, then you're just not going to make the improvements necessary to be a better player. You're just going to keep doing what you do over and over again, and you're not going to climb Elo because you're not making the right choices. On the other hand, if you just were to level with yourself and say, I am probably in the division that I'm deserving of, then and you recognize that you do want to get better, then you can humble yourself and stop hindering yourself by saying like you're already got it, you're already good. You can take a step back, look at your gameplay, look at what other people are doing, try to analyze things that you're not getting right now. Watch streamers, watch guides, like understand the nuances of like the laning phase and just objective controls and all this shit that goes on. And then that's going to help you become a better player. And then you can really start to climb Elo really fast because you're continuing with this different outlook of your gameplay and just really trying to become a better player. So that being said, I just kind of wanted to tell you like my little story when I was climbing Elo and like how I really know that Elo Hell doesn't exist. So for starters, when I was back in bronze, back in season 3, I was like most players, thought that I was a lot better than I was. I generally had a pretty good KDA in most of my games. I thought it was either the support's problem, my mid laner, I couldn't gank for this person, they wouldn't let me gank, I didn't get ganks. Their ganks sucked, they fed my lane. I didn't have anybody following up on my engages or any plays I was trying to make for them or anything. Pretty much the pattern was the same. It was everybody else's fault. I was much deserving of being a silver player, and I just couldn't get out of this elo because everybody sucked around me. So what I ended up doing is I thought maybe it was my champ select. I started playing, at the time, I was playing a lot of Annie, Jax, and I think I played Corki a lot. And I thought maybe I could hard carry with these people, especially Jax at the time. And that was how I managed to just tip the little edge into silver. I finally got silver, and I thought, then I kind of validated myself, like, alright, that's all I needed to do was just play these champs, and then I'll be able to, like, carry all my games. At that time, I went from silver 5 straight to silver 3, really fast, mainly because at the time you couldn't drop a division, and the silver 5 players were really bad. There were some worse than bronze 1, because they would get boosted by like their friends or whatever, and they were still like whatever, the bronze fucking 5. Then in silver 3, I kind of hit my plateau, where I wasn't really getting any better. I just kind of stopped playing ranked, and I went mainly into, I had a Smurf account, and I just kind of just played that over and over again. Wasn't really focusing on getting my skill any better or any of that. thus my skill stayed exactly the same pretty much. It wasn't until I really started to play a lot more ranked and I wanted to get gold really bad. I wanted to get and like finally have that border and just bragging rights pretty much. Then I started to kind of take a couple steps back and not think I was so good at the game because I started respecting the skill around me, even though, and that was kind of funny to say because it was Silver 3. But yeah, I changed my approach to the game. I really started looking into guides. I started watching streamers. I started thinking differently. I didn't think I was as good as I was. Um, I just wanted to get better. So I kept practicing, and not practicing what I've been doing. Practicing not as in like I'm just playing a lot, so therefore I'm practicing. Yeah, it's practicing, but like when you're trying to climb Elo, it's like there's a smart way to practice. When you're practicing what you're learning. So I'm practicing like the importance of objectives, understanding like lane matchups, focusing on my CS, itemization, being able to adapt to the situations via items, stuff like that. So I got better at that over time because I was starting to practice these things, and then I finally hit my gold. And I also started maining a role, and I made it into champ. I just played Vayne over and over and over and over, whether I was getting counterpicked, whatever was going on. This really helped me to like understand just the champion in a different way than I understood any of the other champions. I was able to play her really at like a really decent level. Plus, the more you play her, you start understanding like the lane and like who you can do what to, who you can't initiate on, who's having what power spikes. Just kind of grasping these other concepts that you weren't really even thinking about before. You just felt like I just need to fight and win every single time. But there's definitely that higher level of understanding that champion when you play them a lot in a bunch of scenarios. You're able to adapt a lot faster. You know what to do versus what counter that they try to throw at you or what champion they pick. And when Wukong jumps in on you, you're expecting whatever. When the Warwick comes in, you know to get that QSS and just pop that out there so you can at least have a chance of soloing the guy after. It's etc. etc. Ultimately, with that mental approach, I was able to get to Platinum too. It wasn't until I went back to boost some of my family members. I'd boosted my brother's account, my cousin's account, my other cousin's account, his girlfriend's account, my friend's account, my dad's account, my other brother's account, all to either like gold or high silver. And it wasn't until I went back and played those games and I just saw how easy it was to play and how just the lack of knowledge that they have about the game in those elos. And just and even when you're behind, how easy it is to stay relevant and get back or whatever when you have a feeding support. You're going to win way more often than you lose. And I was winning almost every game except for maybe one or two games that just kind of felt unwinnable for whatever reason. But my point is that I was able to win them pretty easily. And then it kind of struck me where I was like, I'm way better now than I was back then. But when I was in that elo back then, I thought I was deserving of where I am now. I know, me being a plateau player, that I am where I need to be. I know I have potential to get a lot better if I start applying myself and keep at it. I can still do it, but like back then I was nowhere near the skill level I am now, and I am where I need to be. So I definitely was where I needed to be back then too. So when I was that bronze player that was getting the good KDA and thought that I was like like the shit and I was deserving of gold and shit diamond, why not? Definitely looking back, I know I was exactly where I needed to be. I did not have any of the knowledge that I have now about the game or any of that. So just really understanding that because I like lived it or whatever and I was like conscious about it, I'm able to tell you guys this. And so you guys can hopefully apply this to your gameplay, really change how you approach the game so you can get better, and just kind of like go from there. That all being said, I hope I did a good job in trying to convey the message and that you guys kind of have a different understanding of this whole Elo Hell, misconception. And that you guys can just go out and really improve your gameplay and climb that Elo and get out of that quote-unquote Elo Hell. I'll be posting guides to this channel, both character specific and just general gameplay things. So if you'd like to improve your gaming, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for all the guides that are going to be coming out. Thanks for watching, and until next time.